Share desktop. Okay. Well. Stuart, can you do the lighting, please? It's like theatre in here today, isn't it? The front stage lights, please. Thank you. The analogy today. Okay. So we have DHCP version 6 now. So what do we do on IP version 6 network? Here we're going to introduce something called the stateful and stateless addressing system. I think Paul is now with us, I hope. No problem, Paul. I'll get a video at you. So here we go. Something called SLARC. That's a word in another language. So does SLARC sound like a word in one of those here? SLARC. Indeed. So it does imply auto configuration. So with IP version 6, it's a different method to assign these individual IP addresses. The first one is called SLARC. Okay, the other one is called DHCP IP version 6 stateful. The stateless and stateful are the two terminologies to understand. Now, stateless configuration uses something called the ICMP, that's the Internet Control Message Protocol, router solicitation and router advertisement messages to provide addressing and other configuration information. So the client you can see here is doing something called the RS, which is the soliciting of a request for a IP address. So what's going on here is looking for a router advertisement, okay? And routers can advertise information to all clients for availability. So this particular client is sending a router solicitation message, multicasting it to all routers. It's a special multicast. Remember that we have unicast, broadcast, and also multicast to a group of machines, specific ones. I've picked out 3 students in the lesson. I'm talking to only you 3. I'm multicasting in that situation. Right, so once that's done, the advertisement comes back and it gives a prefix, which is that / number, the length and other information needed. So for SLARC, you need to have IP version 6 enabled. There's a command for that, IPv6 unicast routing. And here, PC1 sends the RS message to the all routers multicast address. The multicast address is usually one address, right? One particular address. So the way the broadcast address works. It's a special address allocated for it. And if it hits that address, it goes to all the right routers. R1 responds with an RA message that has the prefix and prefix length of the network. Then PC1 uses that information to create a IP version 6 global unicast address. It's like its own IP address, very long, unique IP. It also creates its interface ID using EUI64, which is a type of protocol to make an interface ID, or it randomly generates it. PC1 must verify the address is unique by sending something called the neighbor solicitation message. Okay, so just sort of go back saying, is this address already used here? So there are some flags that are carried with this particular approach. There's the M flag and the O flag, and in the router advertisement they determine how the IP version 6 address is assigned. That's what really chooses it. So if you can see here, it's what makes it clearer that when this request is sent, this RS is sent, depending on the configuration and the flag being used, the RA has 3 options. Only use this route advertisement. Stateless is DHCP is use this RA and the DHCP version 6 server. So in this particular version, this is giving everything needed. That one's also involving the use of the DHCP version 6 server as well. Okay, and this version using a DHCP version 6 server only. There's these different states here. Okay, 3 different variations. Now, a default setting configuration is the SLARC one, and that means both M and O flag are set to 0. And here the option instructs the client to use information in the RA message only. This means that what's sent back in this advertisement of this flag is everything that it needs, yeah, in order to do that particular setup here. The stateless version is similar, but the O flag is set to 1 now. The RA message has some information provided, but I must also contact the server for more information. So although this is providing half of it, some of the information like the prefix and that kind of subnet mask, blah, 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 it must get the IP address from here. And also stuff like the DNS address and so on, other bits of information if they're needed. Okay, here. Just be aware of the different permutations there. And those flags are set with a command also. This command here will allow that to be done in that approach. The stateful option, V6, this is a little bit different. The M flag is now set to 1 here. This means that for this particular version, stateful DHCP version 6 option is that everything must be gained from the DHCP version 6 server. Here the router is doing very little, okay? It's just really giving back the advertisement only. It's almost like saying, PC1 says, hello, I want an address. Router says, you can have an address, but I'm not going to give it to you, yeah? Okay, but I'm assigning you one. I can give you, I know the network information, I know who's got the rights and all that stuff. So you need to go to the DHCP version 6 server, and the server will give you all that you need. Okay, that's that particular option. Then you have the various other operations. It tells you what port is being used, 546, so the client and the server, so you can recognize which servers and ports are being used. Which interface port is being used here. This is just IP version 6 addresses, where they're going. These are quite a lot of details. So I mean, for your exam, your theory exam, you should understand what the 3 different types are, and a bit about the sequence of what happened. And you might get asked a multiple choice question along the lines of, you know, which one is the correct order? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and rearrange it. The scary questions you get, and they'll look the same, and like which one is which. So if you know the order of that, it should help you with that kind of question. So we've got the different responses. The stateless client generates its own address, and this is because it sends a DHCP version 6 information request to the server, requesting all the config parameters in that situation. The stateful version client, what that one does, sends a DHCP request to a server for an IP version 6 address and all other config parameters. So stateless and stateful. Stateless generates its own address. It only gets the config parameters, not everything. This one gets all the information needed. Okay? You know that's the case because of the word stateful. I'm not sure what the word state really means there. It's got some sense to it. I can't seem to understand it right now. Okay, so if you want to configure the router as a stateless DHCP version 6 server, yeah, stateless means generate one's own address in this instance. So you enable routing. That's the IP version 6 command. You configure the pool. So you make the pool. You can see here, the pool is given a name, stateless, just so it's also remembered. Then you configure the interface, the server, with the pool name. Beg your pardon. You configure the pool parameters. You join up the DNS server command with the server address. That's the IP version 6 address there. That's the server address of the DNS server there. They're saying this is where you need to go to get it, okay? Yeah. Then you give the domain name example. That's so that you can do domain name resolution. You know, in some organizations, like college here, for example, we don't use IP addresses. We use words like, we have something called rack portal, for example. We type in our domain locally. I type in like rack portal. And there used to be one called Elder, which was they're all tree names in the college for some reason. Everything's named Oak, Ash, Elder, right? So we have those naming conventions. So if you typed in Elder, you'd get the reporting services system. And something is resolving Elder to an IP address internally. That's what's being done here. Yeah. If we're on IP version 6 network, that's how we would be doing it. You know, the tree names are the domain names, right? Tree, for example, there is allocated to that DNS server. It's just linked up. So when you exit this, you then go to the interface and you do the IP version 6 address. There it is there. And then you do this type of server it's going to be. And this command called the nd other config flag is also used. So configuring a router to act as a stateless client. This is involving going to the interface again there. Enabling IP version 6. and then doing IP version 6 simple command address auto config. So associate auto config with this idea of stateless DHCP version 6 client. It's the command for that. To verify the stateless DHCP version 6, these are the commands to see what's going on. These are the 4 commands you need to remember or write down. Show IP version 6 DHCP pool. Will give you the pool, the server, domain name, and how many clients are active in that area. The running config will obviously show you the whole configuration. The IP version 6 interface command will show you the IP version 6 interface G01 and what's going on inside it. It's terribly hard to read, sorry. Zoom on. So that gives you the details of that interface. And down here, you can see the orange commands show you the stateless address auto config is enabled there. What that says. The unicast address assigned, and even the default router is mentioned here too. So those are the 4 commands to know. Okay, the steps again. How to configure a router as a stateful DHCP version 6 server. So what was it about stateful that's different from stateless? What is the big difference? Mentioned it earlier. To remind you, 2 options.
Stateful means the whole information.
Yes, so less implies something is missing, yeah? Okay, so what this doesn't give you is all the information you need to make the address. Example is DNS address, other bits and pieces, okay? So what it's saying is for stateless, I'm not giving you everything, you need to go to the server to get everything else. Stateful is giving you everything from the DHCP version 6 server. It's already been put into here. All you want is a router advertisement to allow you, and then you go and get it from here, okay? That's what stateful is doing. So therefore, if you're getting more from a stateful, you're configuring in this way. I found the right one? 42, 41, 42. Configuring a router as a stateful. So you're going to get everything from here. So you configure this way. Enable the routing. Configure the pool. Configure the parameters. You give everything that you need it to know, which is going to be the prefix, the DNS server, the domain name, are all needed to do this, yeah? Then you configure the interface, G01, give it an address. Again, the prefix is provided here. You configure the, you say it's stateful, because of the name given to it, by the way. And then you actually set the stateful thing through this command, nd managed config flag. That sets the 0s and 1s the right way around, so you can do stateful. You need to remember what the flags are and understand the flag names from the slide, well, there's various slides about it. You can see here, M is set to 1, and that's the command to make M1. This is what does it. Managed config. Yeah? Okay. That's the configuring as a stateful root server. That's the provider of the addresses. How about the client side? So a router will occasionally, there needs to be a client of that DNS server. Okay, here you can see here's the server being provided, which is set with the right flags. This router here is the client receiving those addresses. Okay, so to enable the router to send these messages and participate in the allocation and distribution of addresses, you do IP version 6 enable on that interface point there on R3. And you also do make it a client by going IP version 6 address DHCP. Then any devices that connect to this router, okay, or for the switch, can then operate appropriately and be assigned addresses. Verifying these things, you have the show IP version 6 DHCP pool again, DHCP binding to verify it's stateful, and the binding command will show you the client address. Oh, it's terribly hard to read again, sorry folks. Why don't I make it black? So there's a client address there, and there's the address. And there's a showing of the interface. We'll show you all the other information you need to know from that. Okay. Now we mentioned relay agents. Remember the relay agent idea when you can't, you have this problem with this router blocking the movement. So in this example, if this server, the DHCP server is, where's the server here? There it is. on a different network than the client, probably PC1 or PC3. The router here can be configured as a relay agent, so it can get down to here. So to do that, you actually have to go to the R1, configure it, G00, which is the entry point. I think they're referring to PC1, by the way, here, as an example. So you go to G00 here, do the command, DHCP relay destination, you give it the address also. Okay, that's the address allocated there for that particular device. So right here it is, cafe:1006, that's what I want to allocate. So if my relay destination is that address there, then end. I can then see this is working by doing show IPv6 DHCP interface G00. Does that command make sense? Yeah.
Big command.
Big command, yeah. All you need to remember though is that address there. That's standard. Relay destination. Not memorize it obviously, right? But you'll be given one in your whatever the script is or task. Yeah.
I'm having problem with sequence, command sequence.
Your order.
It's quite hard to think.
In the order of these statements, what to do it in. This, we mean this kind of thing, how to get into it. So the way to remember these things, right, is think of it as a hierarchy. Okay, it's almost hierarchical. So what happens is, you know, for any device that you're configuring, there is a approach to it, you know, and when you're looking at a big network and how you're going into it, it's such a big thing to consider. Where the hell do I begin? So usually you get on this sort of thing a pointer of some sort, a lab or a pointer, some suggestion. And in that game, that was really good. I can probably for those sort of scenarios, you know, for that kind of random scenario customer wants. Good to practice that. In this kind of approach, there are troubleshooting steps to take. DCP. Normally, it's the usual thing is that when it's being set up, you're only really configuring the routers, okay, to do this. And you may be configuring the client also. So if you're configuring routers, you go into the router, you do your logins, you go into the privileged exec mode, okay, you go for all that stuff. Then you start going into the interfaces and you work on the interface. That's the usual process. Find the route, select the router you're working on, then work on the interfaces and then do the commands. They'll always follow the sequence. The thing to remember is for order is the guidelines given on this sort of thing, like this sort of slide. Let me show you the example of the slide here. Step 1, step 2, this is the sequence. There was a 4th step one earlier on, like that. And you can't remember them all, probably. It's impossible. So all you can do is put them in the journal. That's what the journal's for. You can't remember the order first time round. You'll memorize it over time if you do more and more of it, but otherwise it's just that you need it when you need it. That's done once, you know, it's been done once a year. And then it's left. Unless there's some kind of a big problem with pooling or addresses or conflict. So then that's really the order. Step 1, enable routing. Step 2, configure the pool. Step 3, the pool parameters. Step 4, the interface in that scenario. If you can make notes like that, that would be great. When you're doing your labs, your practical tasks and packet tracer, that's when you should be writing the things in your journal. Or you can save your commands, copy and paste everything you've done that's working into a text file, keep that with you. Yeah, and you can print those text files out and keep them for the future.
You know, you said like you're all this on the text file.
Yeah.
I'll be allowed to bring it in on a USB stick.
I think what might happen is for this skills test, with this particular example, the next one coming up is like I did last time. I gave you part of it in advance. Yeah, and I said to do the addressing first on paper. What I might do now is say to you, actually bring it with you on a text file, like the commands, to do the first part of the configuration. And that way you can just simply upload it.
Yeah, like last week we were doing copy and paste.
Yeah,
but it all
copy and paste the text file. Indeed.
To it.
Indeed, and the things with the skill set, it covers everything you need to know in the curriculum, so it's a really useful text file to have, to know how you did this, plus the packet tracer file, and you can do it again on a new situation. Good idea. So yeah, we should do that.
That's very good.
Get in the habit of that. Everybody okay over there? Right.
Just giving them how to keep journals.
Oh yeah, you've got a good example. Your journal's really good at, very well organised, I must say. Very well. I think Hermione had a nice one. Oh, is it?
That's what it's talking about.
Oh, doesn't it?
Anything you write by pen, it counts.
No. That's not
Is it printed?
on a pen.
Show me your journal. Let's see some. Let me just look at your journal.
It's not a journal.
Walk around. Right, Stuart's journal.
It's not a journal. Anything you write by hand.
Proper school exercise book. Look at that. That's how it's done. You know what? School exercise book. This is the way. Write your name on the front. If we lost it, who's going to find this for you? Come on. Put your name and phone number in there. More.
And good reward.
Show me your
Yeah.
engineering journal. Not bad. However, missing some words. Put your name on this. Come on.
He's not allowed to bring that.
Vicky. What we got here? This is a good. This is a great journal. This is how it's done. He's even got his name and number in there, or someone. I just did start like.
Can I see?
This is how it's done. This is a journal, proper, with the ring binding on it. This is a proper journal. Well done. Right, Willie. Journal. Show me what you got.
I've left my journal.
Look, matey, that's not going to be good, right? In the test. I want to see a journal next week without fail. We're all in the habit of this. This will keep telling you all your life. Come on. This is a big journal.
It is, it's a proper journal.
Look at that.
It was out all the way from Germany.
It's not empty blank pages in it.
Consider,
Okay.
consider it stolen.
It's not bad. As long as you can find what you need, you're all right. Where are we going to be then?
This is my rough copy, my big journal.
This is the TC30 professional journal, is it?
Yeah, it's like a rough copy.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah,
Right.
still I love it, so I have my name as well.
So you're going to get some work for this, but it's missing a lot of stuff, you know. If I could randomly find group configuration, can I find grip configuration in here? Well, SPF is there. Grip configuration in here? Well, not bad. Yeah, you've done it. You've got the basics in there. So make sure it's all in one place. But you missed others.
Yeah.
Top one, is
I've
it?
got two. This is the
Oh.
top one.
Oh, wow.
Hey, that's a cheat sheet.
Nice.
This is called cheat sheet.
What do you mean it's cheat
Is
sheet?
this the one my
This is
one is
every time I do all the exercise, I copy and paste.
Yeah, that's why you can try it.
Nice.
It says cheat sheet on the website.
Did
You
find
have
it
it
from?
seriously.
Yeah,
the same
Oh,
way.
come on, you make it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buy it. Tell me.
Are you saying that?
I'll send you the soft copy. I have.
See you nice.
all of
Okay,
it.
can you put on the
Group. Put it.
WhatsApp group, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Is
nice,
it for
man.
the whole
Give him a
course
round
or
of
just
applause.
for?
Yeah.
It's for the whole. It's for.
It's up to the point where that's the last time I've been to
Chapter 6.
Paul, you hearing this?
the router on a stick.
Even that's on there. Got trunking on there.
Inter-VLAN.
Inter-VLAN. Very good,
That's
Betty.
the last one. I think.
Excellent. That is how to do it, folks. So,
All this encapsulation goes
Looking at
one
these
queue.
videos, it's a waste of time.
brilliant. I know you see, you made up now for being away for 2 weeks.
Huh?
You made up for being away now for that.
That's the thing, I have to-
Coming back in class. Excellent. Right, folks, let me carry on.
I'll send this soft copy for you.
No problem. It's very kind of you, Betty. Thank you so much. I learned much from you today. Thank you so much.
But after that, the best way is you read line by line. And then you color what you understand.
That's good, that's good. And it seems to be comprehensive. You've covered everything in there. Very good. So, folks, that's probably these questions led to that being distributed everywhere. So, well done. Okay. That's solved that problem. Okay, let me carry on. So, 46. Now, there's other labs here that are configuring stateless and stateful DHCP version 6. As true Cisco professionals, you might want to go ahead and do that lab too. Right? So, that's one that's available. 47 is troubleshooting. This method about troubleshooting. Here's the approach you take. Resolving address conflicts. Verifying allocation method. Test with a static IP address. Verify switch port configuration. And test from the subnet for VLAN. I've got a feeling this might be an activity in your thing. Might be there somewhere. Now, verifying your configuration is a show IP version 6 interface command to verify it is being done and what type it is. And the great thing about this command is it actually does it in plain English for once. You say, what is the interface? Show me interface, and it says here, hosts use stateless auto config for addresses. Hosts use DHCP to obtain other configuration. Hosts use DHCP to obtain routable addresses. There's your 3 different states: SLUC, stateless DHCP version 6, and stateful DHCP version 6 there. Okay, slide 49. Here we are. This is the debugging. So you can put the debug command on. Debug IP version 6 DHCP detail. Tells you what's going on line by line, second by second, whenever something's going on, any activity is shown to you. So you can observe it and monitor it. Looks like that. Kind of commands you're getting. You can see received listed here. It says there. and which pool is being used, and the speed it's taking. And finally, there's a troubleshooting DHCP version 6 lab, also for those who are extremely excited and interested in doing that. Okay, so that's this chapter done. And it has got a packet tracer skills integration challenge at the end, which is probably one worth doing, actually. This is a combination of skills. This is where you kind of integrate things. I think these activities are really good. So I'm going to give you the integration challenge and the lab as well, okay, here, and let you choose, okay, what you like to do in the time that you have here. So let me hand this lab out. You must do this lab, okay? This is the one. This is about your skills test is similar to this, yeah. So this is one you can do it in the class or at home. But this one you need to do preparation. I'll print out for you this one, and if someone else gets all that done, then I'll give them something else. Go on here. Go on here. Start like a school again.
Yeah.
The man just can't stop. No. What if we make Egypt do something good in the World Cup? Yeah. They actually qualified.
They did.
Egypt qualified.
Yes.
That's excellent. Salah would play.
Yeah.
Very good. Results from the other day. Tottenham. Man United.
Oh, right, yeah.
Disappointing, man. Well, one cup we could win this year.
You are not United fan, are you?
No, Tottenham fan, and unfortunately, once again, we have not got far enough.
Getting a nice stadium, really nice stadium, kind of.
Then,
Getting a nice stadium next
yeah, we're
year.
getting a nice stadium.
So, yeah.
That's only the benefit of it.
It's hot
Mind,
rich.
we had Wembley. It's like, how can we even complain with Wembley for a year? It's a bit of a trek, but with Wembley, it's like,
Yeah, I mean, like, they've had the cup games for like £15.
really? Yeah. Let's get a life for someone.
What exercise is this? What's the lab number of this?
8214. Here's something for your engineering journal.
It's 124.
8124. Okay. You check that out, please. I think it's 8124.
It's 124.
All right, there you go. And then you get your packet tracer integration challenge also printed out. Ooh.
Eight, 214, is that?
8124. 8.1.2.4. Let's find the final one now as well. So where's the final? Hey. Go. On a router. On a switch. Maybe that one I'm having.